Hey guys, I'm hoping that everyone is doing good. Guys, today I'm going to show you how to factorize the cubic function. Or let me say, today I'm going to show you the shortest method on how to factorize the cubic function. Because in order for you to find the x-intercepts, or let me say, sometimes the examiner will just say, determine the x-intercepts. Determine the x-intercepts. Or the examiner will just say, determine the coordinates of A, B, and C. The coordinates of A, B, and C, and those are the x-intercepts. And in order for you to find the coordinates, the x-coordinates, the coordinates of A, B, and C, you just need to factorize, you just need to know how to factorize this equation. So let's go for it. In order for you to factorize this equation, you can just use a short method called a synthetic method. That method is called synthetic method. Synthetic method. That method is called synthetic method. And in order for you to apply synthetic method, you just need to, we have one of the factors of what? Of x for this cubic function, right? You just need to know one of the factors of this cubic function. And you are going to use try and error to find what? To find one of the factors of this cubic function. You are going to plug, you can try to plug positive 1, positive 2, and also positive 3. Between these three factors, one of these three factors will give you 0 if you plug it on your origin, on this equation, on this cubic function, right? Cubic function equation. If you plug positive 1 on this equation, or positive 2 on this equation, or positive 3 on this equation, one of this equation will give you 0 if you plug it on this equation, right? If they doesn't, if when you plug them on any cubic function, they doesn't give you 0, it means that you just need to use the negatives. You just need to use negative 1, negative 2, or negative 3. If you plug any between these three factors, between these three numbers, one of them will give you 0, right? So for this function, for this cubic, for this function, for this given function, one of the factors of x for that equation is 1, it's positive 1, x equal to 1. If you plug 1 on this equation is going to give you a 0. If you plug 1, then cube minus 3, then 1 squared minus, we have 1, guys, we have 1, then plus 3. If you simplify this, because 1 cube is 1, then minus 3, then 1 squared is 1 minus 1, then plus 3. This and this will cancel, this and this will also cancel, then you are going to left with the 0, which means x equal to 1. It works for the best for this equation, right? X equal to 1 works for the best for this equation, which means 1 is one of the factors of what? 1 is one of the factors of this equation, right? Yes. Then we are going to use this positive 1 as one of the factors of what? Of x for this equation. Then let's apply our synthetic method to factorize this equation. Then in order for you to apply that method, you just need to put your line. Then after putting your line, you just need to put the coefficients, right? You are going to put your coefficient of x cubed, which is 1. The coefficient of x cubed is 1. The coefficient of x squared is negative 3. What about the coefficient of x? It's negative 1. What about the constant? The constant is positive 3. The constant is positive 3, right? Then, after you just need to put your positive 1, this one you just need to put it here. You just need to put your line, your 1 here. Then after, you just need to take this coefficient of x cubed. You just need to put it here. This coefficient of x cubed, which is this one, it must correspond to this one, right? This is the coefficient of x cubed. Even this one is also the coefficient of what? Of x cubed. So they must correspond. This one must be placed here, right? We have 1 here. Then we are going to use BODMAS. There is what we call the BODMAS. There is what we call the BODMAS. Then on BODMAS we are going to use A and also m. We are going to use m and a. We are going to use the multiplication and also the addition. Only those two, right? Here we have the coefficient of x cubed, right? Here we have our coefficient of x cubed. Then, when we go to the right, we are going to use the multiplication. Then, when we go downwards, we are going to use addition, right? So let's go for it. We are going to say, remember, this is the coefficient of this is the coefficient of x cubed. Even this one is the coefficient of x cubed, right? Then we are going to say, I have said to you, when we go to the right, we are going to use multiplication. Now we are going to the right. Then 1 multiplied by this one. This one, it is the value of this x, right? 1 multiplied by 1 is equal to 1. So you don't have to put it here. You have to put it here. Then now we are going to use addition. 1 plus negative 3 is negative 2. Then negative 2 multiplied by 1, this one, is equal to negative 2. Then negative 2 plus negative 1 is equal to negative 3. Then negative 3 multiplied by 1 is equal to negative 3. Then negative 3 plus positive 3 is equal to 0. Then whenever you apply this synthetic method, these last numbers, they will always give you 0. These last numbers will always give you 0 when you add them, if you apply synthetic method. So guys, this 1, 2, 3, these three numbers, those, they are going to formulate a parabolic equation which is going to allow you to find other factors of x for this equation. So we have the coefficient of x squared, we also have the coefficient of x, we have the constant, meaning that we are going to say f of x, which is equal to, we have 1 multiplied by x squared. This one is this one, right? Then we have negative 2, then multiplied by x. Then we have our constant, which is negative 3. Then let's simplify our equation and factorize so that we can be able to find other two factors, because we have already managed to get our first factor, which is x equal to 1. So we have f of x, which is equal to 1 multiplied by x squared, it's x squared. Then we have negative 2 multiplied by x, which is minus 2x. We have negative 3. Then let's factorize our equation. So we have our x, then x, they will give you x squared. Then which factors of negative 3, when you multiply them, they will give you negative 3. When you add them, they will give you negative 2. It's positive 1 and also negative 3. Then our x is equal to negative 1, or our x is equal to positive 3. Yes. So now let's rearrange our factors in chronological order. So we have our x, which is equal to negative 1. Then we followed by what? By x equal to 1. X equal to 1, and also x equal to positive 3. X equal to positive 3. So this is the way how to use a synthetic method. Remember, this is the first factor. This is our first factor, right? Which is x equal to 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Coefficient of, basically this is A, B, C, and D. So this is D, this one is C, this one is B, this one is A.